Hello auto sales professionals, it's an honor to talk to you for the first time. By the way, my name is Miss Sophia, your virtual assistant to CTM Joseph NG, your sales and marketing expert. This is indeed an honor to present the July 20201 e-auto selling professional newsletter. Really, enough of my long intro. To kickstart this newsletter, we have 4 exciting news to share with you. Alright. Although it more than 1 year of living with COVID-19 disease, we should rejoice and be happy. You ask why? Here is the answer. The number of COVID-19 cases is now stabilized. In fact, there is strong signs that Malaysia's GDP is slowly improving upwards. Therefore, we should be prepared to sell more cars in the near future. True. In order to inspire more confidence into you, this month's e-auto selling pro newsletter we highlight 4 interesting news. Believable. Briefly, exciting news number 1. Qasim weighs us listing with SPAC as option. Exciting news number 2. A dent in auto sector. Exciting news number 3. Cautiously optimistic. Exciting news number 4. 1 free chapter 8. Sales after the sales of book. 7 giant steps to selling excellence. Enough of my long intro. Let's get to the meaty part of this month's newsletter. Shall we? Thanks. First thing first, exciting news number 1. Qasim weighs us listing with SPAC as option. Kuala Lumpur, Qasim SDN BHD, an online used car platform in Southeast Asia, is weighing going public in the United States in a deal that would make it Malaysia's first unicorn, said sources. The startup is working with advisors and is seeking a valuation of about $2 billion in a listing, which could be a merger with a special purpose acquisition company or a conventional initial public offering, IPO, they said, adding that a deal to take the company public could take place as soon as the end of the year. Qasim was conducting a pre-IPO funding round that aimed to raise about $150 million, said the People. At a $2 billion valuation, Qasim, which was founded in 2015, would become Malaysia's first unicorn. The car sales platform operator would join other companies in the region, such as Indonesia's Ticket.com as well as Singapore's Video.Guru Private Limited Holdings Inc., in planning to list in the US via mergers with blank check firms. Qasim, led by co-founder and Group Chief Executive Officer Eric Cheng, has expanded its presence to Indonesia, Thailand and Singapore in recent years. The company's platform sees sales involving more than 40,000 cars annually, with a transaction value of over $600 million, according to its website. It works with more than 8,000 used car dealers who have collectively made more than 2.3 million bids. Its regional rival, Singaporean used car platform Caro, raised $360 million this month to fuel expansion in Thailand and Indonesia before pursuing a US listing. Bloomberg. Source. The Star, the 7th of June 2021. Next up, exciting news number 2. A dent in auto sector. Petaling Jaya, the combination of using raw material prices and chip shortage, which is having an impact on global car prices, could affect the Malaysian automotive industry if the situation worsens. Malaysian Automotive Association MAA President Datuk Ashar Ahmad said local automotive players are feeling the ripple effects of this global phenomenon. The global chip shortage has impacted deliveries from overseas and local chip suppliers, leading to a backlog on deliveries by 3 to 4 months. Depending on the percentage increase in rising material costs, if local automotive original equipment manufacturers cannot absorb the costs, they may have to pass them to potential buyers, she told StarBiz. RHB Investment Bank BHD head of regional equity research Alexander Chia said the global chip shortage and rising material costs situation would have an impact on local car companies if the situation persists. For completely knocked down models, small changes will be absorbed by the price buffer along with foreign exchange changes. But the new cost structure will be updated into the prices of new models, he said. In spite of the potential impact on the local car industry, Ashar, however, said the situation will be mitigated by the vehicle sales tax holiday, which has been extended until the end of the year. The extension of the sales tax holiday will help to cushion the price increase, she said. Chia also concurred that the sales tax exemption would alleviate the impact on consumers. I would say local consumer sentiment and purchasing power will have a bigger influence on car demand, he said. Under the vehicle tax exemption, locally assembled cars are exempted from sales tax, while for imported cars, the sales tax has been reduced from 10% to 5%. The COVID-19 pandemic saw a surge in demand for personal electronic items such as cell phones and laptops, which eventually led to a shortage of chips worldwide as production could not keep up with demand. A recent Forbes article cautioned that the automotive industry may have to bear with the global chip shortage until 2023. As demand for new cars and sport utility vehicles recovered from the lengthy shutdown, it turned out that other industries like gaming had been thriving during the enforced lockdown, which confined people to their homes and stopped car use and car buying. Semiconductor makers were happy to switch production to these new domestic customers, but when auto demand turned around, chip supply couldn't suddenly be switched back on. With many new cars using more high-tech components, this required bigger and more sophisticated electronics, and you have a perfect storm of supply aggravation for the industry, Forbes said in a report earlier this month. Source: The Star, the 20th of June 2021. Next, exciting news number 3. Cautiously optimistic, Petaling Jaya. Analysts are cautiously optimistic that automotive companies will see a rebound in earnings this year, underpinned by the vehicle tax holiday extension. The tax holiday is seen as a much-needed buffer to help boost sales and absorb the impact of the multiple lockdowns imposed this year. CGSCIMB in a report noted that the Malaysian auto sector registered an 86% year-on-year core net profit growth in the first quarter of 2021, driven by higher sales volumes on the back of the extension in the tax holiday. It added that the higher first quarter earnings were also attributed to the lower base in the first quarter of 2020, due to the implementation of the Movement Control Order (MCO) that was implemented in March last year. We are still projecting the Malaysian auto sector's earnings to rebound with a 34% net profit growth in 2021. The sector trades at 14.2 times 2021 price-to-earnings ratio, in line with our target sector price-to-earnings ratio of 14 times. In spite of the MCO implementation last month, CGSCIMB said it is keeping its 2021 total industry volume (TIV) forecast of 580,000 units this year. We expect the sector to benefit from the government's decision to extend the sales tax holiday until December 31, 2021 under the recent announced Pemakasa Plus package. On the assumption that no vehicles are delivered this month, CGSCIMB said its 580,000 TIV forecast for this year would imply an average of 57,000 vehicles sold per month from July to December. This would still be 3% below the TIV of 59,000 per month recorded during the sales tax holiday from July to December last year. Hence, we think our TIV forecast is achievable, assuming the government does not extend the full MCO into July. If that happens, we see a 10% downside to our 2021 TIV forecast of 580,000. Meanwhile, we look forward to the upcoming national automotive policy revision in the second half of 2021, which could provide a better direction for Malaysia's vehicle electrification strategy, following the release of the 2020-2031 low-carbon source star the 5th of July 2021. Lastly, exciting news number 4. Free Chapter 8 on Sales After the Sales of Book, 7 Giant Steps to Selling Excellence, will be presented by my virtual colleague Miss Teresa. Okay, so, I shall now pass the rest of the presentation to my virtual colleague Miss Teresa. For now, I, Sophia, wishes you goodbye. Until we meet again, it's sayonara. Okay. Thank you, Miss Sophia, for allowing me to continue sharing this month's auto sales professional newsletter. Alright. Oh, by the way, my name is Miss Teresa. Another virtual assistant to CTM Joseph NG, the sales and marketing expert. Okay, thanks. Without any delay, here goes. Chapter 8, Sales After the Sales. Quote, post-sales activities are necessary to buyer's satisfaction and enhance the salesman likelihood of securing future business. By David L. Kurtz and another. He is currently the RA and Vivian Young Chair of Business Administration at the University of Arkansas. Once you sold, shut up. Many salesmen don't know when to stop talking. They continue to sell after a commitment has been made. By doing so, they run the risk of ruining the order. Logically, you will naturally want to get his order in writing, but if you force him to go over it again, he may have second thoughts. Obviously, most us are eager to assure the customer that he has made a right decision, but if you praise him too effusively, he may become suspicious. However, you would want to settle all details, but if you raise new questions in his mind, he may wonder what he has gotten himself in for. Be aware of the fact that you should not display too much happiness, to the extent that your customer may conclude that you have managed to get the better of him, that you are making too much out of the deal. The super salesperson knows that, once you have made the sale, it pays to shut up. If the prospect indicates halfway through your presentation that he is willing to buy, don't sell any more. More talk may simply trigger more objections. Don't say anything which could just possibly jeopardize your customer's commitment. If you must keep talking, change the subject. Discuss the weather, golf, football, music, or anything but the business you have just concluded. The second area that you must be aware of is that you must always ask the customer or non-customer for referrals to other people. Your best sources of new prospects are always people whom they have bought from. After you have completed the sales interview successfully, every single salesperson has the experience that where they have asked for the referral from someone who may not even bought anything, who later became the very best customer. So professional salespeople always ask every customer if they can give them 2 or 3 names of other people who may be interested in his product or services. Always ask for 2 or 3 because the person will always choose to give you 2. This is an alternative close applied to get referrals. And then ask them whether you can have their phone numbers. Always these people, when they give you referrals, they will give the names of the people that they know fairly well. And they almost always have their phone numbers handy. When they have given you the phone number, ask them again which one of these 2 you think I should call first. Invariably, they will tell you who they think would be the best prospect, and then you must ask, Mr. Prospect, while we are here, or, while we are talking, as soon as we finished, could you call this person and tell them I will be getting in touch with them? Almost invariably, they will say, sure. Why not? Because they are usually next to a telephone. They will pick up their phone. They will give a very brief introduction and they will say, LT, this Joseph will be calling on you about something. I thought it's going to be interesting and you should listen to him. They will hang up the phone. Simple as that. Without doubt, a referral is worth more than 15 times a cold call. Remember, the key to selling effectiveness is gaining trust, relationship, and credibility. When you get a referral from someone, you piggyback on the trust, friendship, and the credibility that of the other person. You don't have to go in cold and establish your credentials. Never let an after-sales situation pass by without asking for referral. The key to successful selling is to talk to more prospects, especially those that have been referred to by your satisfied customers. The third important area you must be taking care is the power of writing short notes. It's often said, short notes gives long results. To illustrate my point, let me relate to you a story told by one of my participants who attended my seminar at Video.Guru, KL. The salesman told me that whenever a sale is closed by him, he would go back home that evening and write a personal note in his own handwriting to the people who had the same day bought from him. In doing so, he also stressed that it's important to use these live stamps sold in the post office, not those from the postage machine. It gives more of a personal touch to use postage stamps. According to him, he feels that is all right to use company stationery and papers, and he says you must hand address the envelopes. In most of his notes, this is what is usually say. A personal note to thank you for your courtesy and the profound confidence you have placed on me today. I enjoy very much visiting you and your family. I am proud that you are now pleased you are now using the automatic gate. I know you will benefit from it and be pleased with the result. I'll be in touch with you in the future to see whether I can be of additional service. In the meantime, if require assistance of any kind, please feel free to contact me. Thank you. George Lee. This letter, new or note, I agree, will paint a lot PF pictures, and it gives a customer a "we care for you" attitude and an assurance that he did the right thing. Let us examine this note carefully, phase by phase. Thank you for your courtesy. I enjoyed visiting. I am proud of you. You will benefit and be pleased. I shall be in touch if you need or want assistance. I believe that Mr. Lee is trying to get the message to his customer that he is a man of reliable character who can be of assistance and who is in fact a friend and a good guy. That is the feeling that we should leave with the new customer that we have just finished dealing with. The last and not the least to is remember even the salesman does not close the deal, he or she must nevertheless leave with a happy face. It assures the salesperson to have a positive welcome the next time he visits the prospective buyer. This chapter would not be completed if no advice is given to a salesperson who has been rejected by a prospect. The departure from the prospect when no sale is made can be disheartening. As always stressed in many of my workshops, these are the following things a professional salesman must think and do. Believe me, as a general rule, the attitude of a competent salesperson who has lost the sale should be no different from that of the successful person. I must admit, it is easier to preach than do, for it takes a good and well-adjusted salesperson to smile and act friendly after trying many times to make an unyielding person to see the salesperson point of view. It must be done. During the course of my workshop, one successful and dynamic salesperson related this incident to me. He told me quite frankly that after one unsuccessful call on a prospect, he called again a second time on the same prospect. The buyer admitted saying, do you know you are the first salesperson who ever went away without an order and who actually thanked me for the time I gave him. In fact, the buyer said that he already sold him these goods when you were here before. In my experience with hoteliers, there are times that months on end there would be no sales were forthcoming. This does happen even when I visited the many hotels in the city after several visits. It would be wise to adopt a positive attitude even when several visits have resulted in no sales. Therefore, in order to be any successful salesperson facing this situation, there are 3 attitudes a salesperson must avoid. He should avoid scorn, anger, and inferiority. A third-rate salesperson who has failed to sell a car may shun the prospect who had too little taste or the means to buy. The salesman may be angry and show it. Lastly, he may feel so defeated that he assumes an air of sorrow, which I believe is almost equally bad. It's hard to remain pleasant in face of a turndown, yet you must show a cheerful one, for right there a new sale may be started at the future date. When the turndown is received in the outer office, it is even harder to take without emotional pain, but this, too, must be overcome. It does not even pay to let the prospect's staff see that you have been humiliated in any way. Always keep a cheerful self-confidence with poise unshaken. A good final impression on the prospect's employee will be valuable at a later date. A real professional salesperson will be able to sense the certain rejection before it arrives and will prepare and exist quietly. Such capable salespeople will normally guide the conversation into other related matters, changing the subject nicely and perhaps saying something like this. Well, I've got to be getting on. I've enjoyed our visit a lot and will look in again someday soon. Goodbye. A graceful exit is important should the closers failed after the 6th attempt. Such exit would ensure the way for a return. You should try to prevent the prospect from turning you down flatly. If the prospect has not gone on record, there is a better chance to reopen the sale than if the prospect had been permitted to do so. Summary: in a nutshell, these chapter can be easily summarized in 4 salient points. Would you agree? Nevertheless, you must be reminded, firstly, when a sale is a done deal, then it is best for the salesperson to stop taking about the sales, but he or she should take about the other topics which the customer likes. Secondly, the sales professional must always ask the customer or non-customer for referrals to other people that may need the product or service. This ensures you will have more prospects to sell to. Last but not the least, have the good habit of writing follow-up notes. They should contain words of gratitude to the customers. Would these few sentences give you a good short version of this chapter? Conclusion: therefore, my final deduction of this chapter on sale after the sale must be firmly recorded that every sale must without excuse to religiously follow the 4 ideas stated in the chapter. In truth, I myself had carry out the sales after the sale routine. Normally I quietly celebrate the sale success with a big hot famous branded coffee. At the same time, I will leisurely write a thank you follow note. This has helped me to sell more with the same customer too. To end this chapter well, remember the words of a famous Prime Minister of India, Mahatma Gandhi: relationships are based on 4 principles: respect, understanding, acceptance, and appreciation. So, in all honesty, I personally urge you to seriously make it a habit to write such notes. It really worked. Trust me. Goodbye. See you again in the next chapter. Shall we? Thanks. PS. To enhance your learning, please click this link. Web links. End of chapter 8. Thanks for viewing this video clip. May I and Miss Sophia wish you goodbye for now. Sayonara, then.